This week in GESM 160 will be our second week focusing on metacognitive strategies. In this video, we'll take a look at time management strategies and how issues in time management differ from issues with procrastination. In the following video, strategies for combating procrastination will be reviewed, including creating SMART goals.
Before we jump into time management, we need to tease out the differences between time management and procrastination. Contrary to common wisdom, procrastination and time management are not one and the same. Understanding that there is a difference between time management and procrastination, and being able to recognize which we are having an issue with, is helpful in managing our use of time. Time management is an issue of skill. Understanding how to prioritize and organize time and tasks to achieve goals. Students who are lacking time management skills are lacking knowledge in how to prioritize or manage tasks. Procrastination, on the other hand, is an issue of will and is related specifically to starting tasks. Procrastination has a stronger emotional cause, which makes it a motivational issue. A learner who is procrastinating may understand how to best prioritize tasks and manage their time, but may not feel like starting the tasks they have planned. If they are not able to effectively manage their affect, they will keep putting off the tasks. Procrastination will be discussed further in another lecture, but for this unit, it is important to know that the key difference between time management and procrastination is that time management is an issue of skill, while procrastination is an issue of will. Is this a skill or will issue? What about this one? One picture depicts a time management issue, while the other a procrastination issue. Clearly, the doctor is having trouble prioritizing his tasks. The man who needs help with his leg is significantly more urgent than the woman with the splinter. The E-card shows a woman with a procrastination issue. She has outlined tasks to do for the day, but clearly does not feel like doing them. This is a motivational issue, which makes it a procrastination problem. For the rest of this unit, we're going to be focusing specifically on time and time management, but keep in mind that there is a difference between time management and procrastination.
When considering how to better manage our time and tasks, we need to become aware of and control time robbers. Time robbers are events that occur in our lives that can deter us from our priorities.
Time robbers can either be imposed by the environment, or they can be self-inflicted. Interruptions are time robbers that are imposed by the environment. These can be text messages, emails, our roommates, or even a member of our study group who keeps interrupting us while we're trying to focus. Demands of family and friends can also be time robbers. You may have a family member who doesn't fully understand the rigors of undergraduate life, or a friend who's not in college and doesn't understand the amount of work that you have to do. Conflicting priorities also rob us of time. You may have a big social event with your fraternity or teammates, or a club that you have a leadership role in, during the same time that you have major assignments due in your classes. When we have too much work, such as the times when we have perfect storms, this can also create a conflict in priorities, where you have many significant important events that need to be taken care of. We can also waste or rob our own time when we have a poor attitude or when we fail to listen. If we're taking a class that we don't have any personal interest in, and we go in with an attitude of, this class is a waste of time, we may end up not taking notes, failing an exam, and ultimately dropping the course, only to have to take it again. Ultimately, we're punishing ourselves by having to take the class twice, and wasting several hours of time in 2 semesters. Personal disorganization is one of the most significant time robbers that students and most Americans face. Did you brush your teeth this morning? If we asked 100 people this question, 99% of them would say that they did. What about your bed? Did you make your bed this morning? While we see brushing our teeth as a non-negotiable task, people often skip organizational tasks such as making their beds. Why is this important? Because control over our living spaces equates control over our life. Also, an organized room creates a focused mind. On the contrary, the more disorganized you are, the less time you have. The more disorganized your notebooks are, the more time it will take you to prepare for an exam. In fact, Americans spend approximately 55 minutes every single day searching for items. Being undecided or confused about choices can also rob us of time. It is often said that we get confused when we don't want to take responsibility for something we have to do. This may be a good disguise, but it's also a time robber. Lastly, procrastination is a huge time robber. In fact, 70 to 90% of Western students have been found to engage in procrastination. For 20% of Western students, chronic procrastination is a serious issue. So now that we know that our attitudes can affect the way that we use our time, and that there are time robbers in our environment or that we can inflict on ourselves, what do we do about these issues? Let's take a look at the next slide to see some effective strategies. Here are some research-based strategies that are helpful for managing our use of time. Prioritizing tasks helps us to complete them according to their sense of urgency and importance. This strategy will prevent us from feeling rushed to complete tasks and support us in completing them in a timely manner. Setting a regular study period helps to protect us from constant conflicts with other tasks that we must complete, such as unexpected events. If we do not set a time, we are more likely to become involved with another task. Also, when we set a regular time, our mind becomes disciplined so we can reach deeper concentration quicker. Studying in an environment free of distractions can maximize our time by allowing us to get more tasks done. Scheduling tasks in 30 to 60-minute blocks helps with concentration. Taking short breaks keeps us energized and motivated when working on the task and allows us to engage in deep concentration when focused on the task. Alternating subjects in longer time blocks helps to better control our motivation and concentration. We can also prioritize by doing the tasks we dislike first. If we do the tasks that we prefer first, it's kind of like having our dessert before we have our vegetables. We may get full before getting around to eating our veggies. When doing what we like least first, we get it over with, which prevents us from procrastinating and completing the task. Moreover, it gives us something to look forward to. The preferred tasks become rewarding. Also, doing the assignments that are hardest first is helpful, as we'll have a clearer mind and will be better able to concentrate. By working ahead in our assignments when we have a chance, we are better equipped to deal with unexpected events or major events that might require changes in our schedule. Over the next few slides, we're going to focus primarily on prioritizing tasks. When prioritizing tasks, how do we decide what to do first? Herein lies one of the biggest lessons in time management. How we spend our time can be classified into 4 quadrants based on whether the tasks we're doing are urgent or not urgent, important or not important. This is a direct reflection on how much planning we do in our life and what role time robbers can play in our life. Let's take a look at how it plays out. Quadrant 1 tasks are both important and urgent. These are tasks with immediate deadlines, such as a project that is immediately due or an exam that we have tomorrow. Quadrant 2 tasks are important, but they are not immediately urgent. This can be something that still has a deadline, but the deadline is not immediately approaching. Quadrant 2 tasks can be an essay that's due in a week, taking the time to exercise, or to write out our goals. Quadrant 3 tasks are urgent but are not important. This may include other people's small problems or things that we're pressured to do from our peers. When thinking about Quadrant 3 tasks, ask yourself, do you have a friend who always has something extremely urgent they need to talk to you about? Allowing this friend to consistently rob your time would be a Quadrant 3 task. Quadrant 4 tasks are neither urgent nor important. Examples of Quadrant 4 tasks are watching Netflix, surfing the internet, looking at Facebook, watching TV, or taking extended naps during the day. In the next slide, we're going to see what happens when we tend to live in one of these quadrants. If we were to further examine people who tend to live in these 4 quadrants, we could say that Quadrant 1 people are the procrastinators. When people are mainly focusing on tasks that are Quadrant 1, both important and urgent, they tend to be living in the red, always rushing from one deadline to the next, leaving them stressed out and burned out. Where Quadrant 2 people are the prioritizers, people who are able to focus on important but not urgent tasks are those who have vision and who are able to foresee the tasks that are coming up in the future and to both plan for them and motivate themselves to begin accomplishing these tasks ahead of time. This leaves prioritizers with a sense of balance and control. By planning ahead, they've given themselves enough wiggle room that if an unforeseen event happened to occur, they can take time away from their assignments without compromising any of their deadlines. Those living in Quadrant 3 tend to be the people pleasers. This can also be called the yes person. This person tends to be pulled into the direction in focusing on tasks that are seen as being urgent by others and not necessarily important to themselves. This can leave people feeling resentful and used, especially when the support they've given isn't reciprocated. And lastly, people engaging in Quadrant 4 tasks can be seen as the slacker. This is the person that is avoiding responsibilities in general by doing preferred tasks only, tasks that are neither urgent nor important. It's also important to note that a lot of times when we are living in Quadrant 1, when we're only tackling things that are urgent and important, and we're jumping from one deadline to another, that the feeling that we have of being stressed out and burned out can leave us from swinging from one extreme, which is Quadrant 1, to the other extreme, being Quadrant 4, where we only engage in preferred tasks, the non-urgent, non-important tasks. We may remain here for hours upon days until another deadline approaches, causing us to panic and to jump back into Quadrant 1. If we were to go another step further and give these quadrants another name, we could call Quadrant 1 people the firefighters. These firefighters tend to feel out of control as they are propelled to put out one fire after the other. On the other hand, those living in Quadrant 2 can be seen as the fire preventers. They have the foresight and the vision to be able to foresee where a fire may start, to foresee that perfect storm, and to plan ahead and be able to motivate themselves to prevent the fire before it starts. Quadrant 3 people can be seen as the rescuers, those who are investing their time in others instead of themselves. And lastly, Quadrant 4 people are just fired. When we're living in Quadrant 4, it's not unlikely that we'll turn in incomplete tasks or miss deadlines entirely. Continuing to focus on Quadrant 2, let's quickly go over the benefits of planning. Why is planning beneficial? Planning helps us put first things first. It helps us to anticipate challenges and opportunities. When we look ahead and see what commitments we have, it helps us to see where we have opportunities to do the things we need to do. It also helps us to anticipate challenges, like 2 midterms happening on the same day. When we plan ahead, we'll be able to balance our studying prior to the midterms. Planning gives us freedom and control. Contrary to many students' fears, time management is liberating, not restrictive. A certain control over part of your day allows you to be flexible with the rest of your day. It's also a great idea to plan your free time. By doing this, you will reverse how you think about free time. Not only will you work more, but by planning your free time, you're giving yourself permission to relax, which allows you to enjoy your time with friends or family without having that voice in the back of your head telling you all of the work that you have to get done. Planning also gives us a sense of accomplishment and allows us to avoid the feeling of guilt. Time management is very similar to setting goals in that way. It's no surprise that the most satisfied and happy people are those that set goals and plan their lives.
Finally, as you are learning this week, reflect on these questions. Are you aware of any time robbers that pull you away from prioritized tasks? How can you better control these time robbers? What quadrant do you primarily live in? Lastly, what time management strategies could you implement to put you in control of your time?